Okay, welcome to episode 1 of the Saturn V build. I'm going to do this on my first live stream. So as you can see, it's a rather large kit. The box takes up most of the bench, so we'll just move that out of the way. And we've got a total of 5 sprues. So each of these sprues is one of the stages. Got the instructions here. So we're just going to go through and work our way through the instructions. We're going to start with the main rocket stage, or main engine stage, I should say. So we can move the rest out of the way. And we're going to start with this part here, the engine mount. The side fins. That's the side fins. And part number 7, which I think is that piece there. Pull this up and clean it off. There's quite a lot of flash on this kit, so it's going to be a little bit of clean up to do. You can see around the edges there, a lot of flash. When it comes to painting, I'm just going to paint the black on it. I'm going to use the model white, just to make life a little bit easier. White paint is notoriously hard to paint on large areas. So we're just going to go ahead we're just going to put that piece in. There's a nice recess for it to fit in. So make sure it's completely seated in. Like so. And repeat for the other side. Piece number 6. Identical to the piece we just fitted. And again, we're just going to quickly clean it up. I'm not entirely sure when this kit first came out, but I'm assuming it's an old kit with old tooling. Again, just seat it in the recess, like so. And I think these fins are all identical. So give them a good clean up. So even though it's an old kit, it still seems to be really nice put together and engineered kit. And what we're going to do is we're just going to fit those in place and just use extra thin on the inside. And we can do that for all 4. Make sure it's fully seated. Extra thin on the inside. That's first step completed. We can move on to step number 2, which is our rocket cone mounts. So it's this piece here. And also the main F1 engines. Is the designation for the first launch stage engines. And these are pretty much, by the looks of things, keyed. So we'll have to take a bit of care to make sure that we use the right parts. And again, just go around, get rid of the little bit of flash on the base plate, and that will sit inside. So, and you can see that it's got the peg which goes into the hole, that basically only goes in one way. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put some extra thin in like that, and just make sure that it's orientated the right way, and just push it into place. You can just go around a few of the edges with some extra thin, just to ensure it's fitted and it's not going to come loose at any point. So we can make a start on the engines. So as you can see, we've got 8 and 9, 10, 11 and so on. So make sure that we follow although it doesn't seem that parts are numbered. So they're just peg and hole. We'll just take the corresponding pair. Five of these to do. And as you can see, they've got two pegs that locate into the base plate. So again, it's just a case of cleaning them up. What we'll do is we'll leave the main clean up till they're together. Then we can just sort the seams out at the same time. And they just fit together, peg to hole. Not very good fit, to be honest. We're going to have to do some extra thin. Hold that until it bakes. And the same on the other side. Fill up the seam with extra thin, hold it together. Actually have to fill those gaps before painting, but you get the general idea. Two halves go together. Too bad once you've got some glue on there. As I said, this is a very old kit, so can't really expect too much. I think it's a skill level 4, but to be quite honest, with certain kits like rockets and submarines and that, a lot of the inside is enclosed, and basically all you've got is the outside shell on display. So it tends to be a lot easier to put those kits together, and they normally have fewer parts as well. We'll just try and see if the fit is the same for all of them, or if that was just a one-off. So line up the pegs with the hole. And as you can see, pretty much all of them are exactly the same fit-wise. We'll just do what we can with the extra thin. We can always go around again before final fitting just to make sure that they're half decent. I'm not going to attach these just yet. I'm going to paint them first. Really shouldn't have to spend too much time on parts like this, but when they don't fit, the outside ridge detail is going to make it very hard to fill the gaps with putty, so might have to use a bit of super glue. It's going to have to be very carefully placed in there. Actually, gone together a bit better. Again, use a little bit more glue than you normally would. Just to make use of the welding action of the extra thin. Just hold it together. Till the glue sets. You can repeat for the other side. Again, just hold it together till the glue sets. Always turn up when you least want them to. So again, just put some glue in like so. 2 more times. Again with the glue. Seam together. Should be able to cover up most of the imperfections with during painting. That's at least what I'm hoping to do. And last but not least, number 5. I'm going to clean up the flash after they're put together, just because that's the easiest way to do it. While doing that, I can tidy up the seams. bit off there. This one's particularly bad. I have to make sure that good level. So again, put the extra thin. As much glue as we can in the seam. Hold it together until it sets. I'll lay down this side. That's the 5 engines done, and they're going to fit. You can see there's a large pin and a small pin. That's how they're going to mount in place. We're going to leave that until after they're painted. We'll put them to one side. And then the first stage, which will go on top. And again, we need to make sure that we get the parts correctly. So we need 20 and 21. This is 20. And so that means that this should be 21. You can see it's embossed on the side. And we need the end cap, which is number 19. Very hard to tell on this white plastic. 19 is this one here. And this is simply goes together with locating tabs. On either side, just like that. So we'll clean it up. And the end cap will sit inside. Bit like that. We just need to clean it up. Clean up the end cap. We're just going to clean up the edges. It needs to sit inside that ring. Like that. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to extra thin it. So put it together before I clean it off properly so that we can deal with the seams. I want to brush some extra thin all the way down the inside of the seam. Hold it together. Quite handy having that detail that closes up over the join. Yeah, lovely and neat. Okay, so the reason I didn't clean up before was just so we can clean up after the glue's set. And at the same time, we're dealing with that join. When it comes to priming, I'm just going to take a little bit of filler just to smooth it off before the primer goes on. That'll make sure that we have a good finish on the model. Make sure that the majority of the seam is taken off. And it's nice and flat. And repeat for the other side. Brush extra thin all the way down. What this does is it puts any glue that seeps out on the inside. We just get a very, very slight bulge on the outside, which lets us know that the glue is doing its job. And that's easily cleaned off. So just make sure that the glue sets. Then we can just go ahead and give it a bit of a sand. Normally helps to put the primer on and then take a look at seams, because the primer will highlight any major defects. Seems to have gone on quite well. And that's the first stage put together. As you can see, underneath there's two locating sections. And they go onto those pins. Like so. What we're going to do is we're going to glue that in place. So it's located. And the details that we added before would line up. And that's the first stage completed. Ready for primer and paint. I did say that I wasn't going to do the white, but I think I'm going to have to, just to get rid of the defects. You can see some sinkholes as well in the side of the plastic. So it's definitely going to need primed to sort those out. Which is unfortunate, because I didn't really want to be painting white. But what I can do is use a white primer and then just give it a clear coat to do the job. And the next section is number 22 and 23. Which is the collar that goes between the two first and second stages. And again, it's located with pins, like so. And again, we've got details that will line up with the ones that we've already done. So I think these actually lock in place. Mistaken. Inside you've got a little tab there, which I think goes in here, and you twist it around to lock it in place. Very bad flaw there, where the detail's not been formed properly. Make sure that the locating pin on here, but not a very good fit. So just a slight formation there. For the next Airfix kit, I'm not entirely impressed, but like I said, I don't know how old this tooling is. A lot of the parts are very poorly fitting. They just released the Artemis rocket. I'm hoping that's going to be considerably better than this kit. Shouldn't be any excuse for sort of defects that we're seeing here. The other model in the space range is the shuttle. Again, that's probably going to be an older kit. I think, yeah. That goes on there like this. Pretty sure the side details should line up. Well, I could be wrong, because that seems to fit okay. As you can see, we're starting to get a bit of length. And we can now move on to stage 2, which is probably slightly more complicated. And it has the smaller stage 2 rockets as well. So just go ahead and get those parts together. So we've got the 2 side pieces. This should be 25. Yep. That can come off. And then we have number 27. Which is the engine mount. And then we have the engines, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So onto this mounting piece here. When this goes together, again with the locating tabs, goes together just like that. And it will fit again. And that will make up most of the length of the rocket, with just the command module and the lunar lander go above that. And so with that, we need the engines. There's 6 in total, because we have one on stage 3 as well. So we might as well do them all at the same time. And again, it's just pairs of halves, with some with pegs and some with holes. So they should go together quite easily. We'll just get them all off and get them cleaned up. And again, they won't go on until painting. But we'll put them together. Hoping these will go together a little bit more easier than the last lot. We'll just clean them up. There's a lot of rinse and repeat on this kit as well, which is something you should really expect to do. When you've got a large outside area, no interior. But it all adds to the detail of the overall kit. And the way I'm going to be displaying this is my shelf unit has shelves that can't be used for anything else really because of their size and position. But I can actually break this up into the different stages and have each stage on a different shelf. which I think will look quite smart actually. And in the end, it's a good learning experience when you have a kit that's less than optimized. Well, it can be a little bit frustrating, especially if you're starting out in the hobby. But once you've learnt a few techniques to cover up flaws and mistakes, you can usually do a really good job, make up for where the kit fails. As you can see here, these ones are going together a lot better than the larger ones, is what we like to see. And at the end of the day, paint will cover up a lot of sins. I'm by no means an expert model builder. I've been doing it for a couple of years now. But I found that I picked up a lot of tips from more seasoned veterans online. They're always willing to, you know, talk to you about how to do things and how they do things. And you will pick up tips all the time, really. Then you'll come across a situation where you think, oh, so and so told me how to do this. And eventually you'll get to the point where you're the one giving out advice. But this is actually an excellent kit for beginners. More for its simplistic design than anything else. Because beginner can be put off quite easily if they choose a kit that's quite difficult. But Airfix also do a large range of starter kits that come with everything in the box. This one came with glue, paint, and a couple of paintbrushes. And if I was doing it completely out of the box, then I'd be using them. But As you can see, there's no white paint in there, so the kit is intended to be left virtually unpainted, apart from the details. But with the floors and the other little disappointments, I'm not sure that I'll be able to leave it like that. Like I said, I'll probably use a white primer and then give it a coat of clear varnish over the top, seal that in, and then I'll add the painted decals. I'm just going to go ahead, finish off these engines. And as you can see, it's not taken very long to complete the majority of this model. I think it really comes into its own once you get to the painting stage. Of course, it's pre-launch, so minimal weathering to do. Which again makes it an ideal starter kit. Some of these engines are going together quite nicely, actually. And the final one. I'll film the painting process, but I won't live stream that because it'll literally be watching paint dry. And nobody wants 2 hours of that. Building process is hopefully a little bit more interesting. That's the 6 engines done. We can move on to this bit here. And again, we've got the end cap. We need to just clean the edge off. And that fits in the recess here. the engine mount is keyed on the side there. Make sure that's properly located. Roll that in place. We'll just put some more extra thin on the inside. That's take. That's the engine mount. There's 6 engines, and that piece fits in there. We just need to clean off the edge. I'm just looking because there's a slot there. I can't see anything that goes in it kit wise. So just seems strange to have a locating slot with nothing to go in it. Again, very poor detailing there. Just open that up a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the paintbrush. Make sure that plenty of glue goes in the seam. Again, once it's fully cured, that can be cleaned up. Luckily, there's a lot of very flat detail on this part, which will clean up nicely. And really, it's just making sure that most of the gap is filled. The better the join, the less work you have to do for painting. Just make sure it's as tight as you can make it. Open up this side. Just repeat the process. Don't be afraid to really put some pressure on seams. Helps them come together and glue up. And good thing about the extra thin is it's very quick drying as well. So within a few seconds, you're at the point where you want to be really. And again, a lot of this can be dealt with when it comes to painting. A little bit of filler, a little bit of super glue makes a great filler. A lot of kits can be very forgiving when it comes to detailing once you've got them together. And that will fit. Right? Those details join up. It's on top there. And as you can see, it's a very, very tall model. So you really want to make sure that you have somewhere for it to go. And the final piece that goes on the outside, and it's number 40. I think it's this piece, but no, it's this piece here. Very hard to read the numbers on white plastic. Clean this bit. Give it a quick sand. fits that recess there. A bit of extra thin. So move on to stage 3. .43 and 44. And that's our first emptied sprue. Always a good feeling when you start getting empty sprues. That bit there. Then we have piece number 42. Number 6 engine, which we've already put together. Again, that'll go on when it comes to painting. There's 2 small details. What, 3? Actually, no, 4. 4 small details which we'll put on. Yeah, we'll put on after we put this piece together. Strange. Can't really see where most of these parts go. Very clear. B47. There's a locating slot there, but on this side, the molded piece. Let's see what the parts are. So we've got the 2 fins there, and there pieces. .48, 47. 50. I'm going to have to look at that off camera. So we'll finish this part off and then we'll call it a day for the live stream. So this is just the end cap. Top end cap. That piece there. We're just cleaning off the edges. And that glue in there. And the motor mount. Fit in there. That's gone together quite well. And again, that piece put in there, like that. You can see now we've got an almost complete rocket. And to be quite honest, there's not a lot of work that needs doing on it. There's some, but overall, given its age and given its tooling, it's I'll give it a 3 out of 5. So, average. The engines, smaller ones went together quite well, but the bigger ones were a little bit of a problem. And that's where we're going to leave the live stream. So give you a bit more of a better look. So I'm going to probably do episode 2 and finish off the rest of the build, and then we'll get on to painting. So I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed the video or the live stream. So if you have, please like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.